Hi. Hi. Oh, Queen of the Jank at it again. Woo! You saw nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing was there. Hi. Hi. I'm Koi Koi. Um, I'm an anglerfish. I'm a fish. See, I got my Eska on my head. I'm a fish. Um, I wasn't planning on streaming today, but then I thought about it and I thought to myself I could be playing some Tetris. And so we're gonna play some Tetris. I don't have much more to say beyond that. I'm still in a food coma because I am on Thanksgiving too, the stuffing. So like I am full of potatoes and pie and it's wonderful. I couldn't be happier. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to game. Yay! Okay, hi. So this is actually a new play that I have. Oh. And so we're on my new account and we're gonna be doing some Tetris here. It's gonna start us off on level 1. So we might see a bit of tutorial stuff because I'm literally just loading this up now. Oh, hold on just a moment. Give me just a second. We're gonna pop back to my waiting room. Okay, so, minor issue, a little bit of a story here. I actually got gifted this, new device. Let me start at the beginning. I have a buddy who every few years likes to what he calls affection troll me. And what he does is he waits until there's a new console that he wants to play a game on with me that he probably already has. But once there's a game that he knows that, like, I'm the only person who'll play it with him, he just jumps right in and what he calls affection trolls me and buys me a console. So I just got gifted a Switch 2. So I have to just get logged in real quick. On my account because I hadn't logged in yet to the online stuff. Because I'm a smart cookie. I'm the smartest cookie whatever was. Ever. Definitely. That's me. So, let me get this fixed. And then we'll go ahead and we will do this. Okay, I think I got it going. So it is gonna be, it's actually going to load in my old account, it turns out. Save us some time. So, there we go. We'll get that all up. Everything will be kosher. I believe we are... Yeah, we good. Okay, back to the game. Okay, hi, game. I haven't done this in a while, but I used to play this a lot with my friends. So I'm excited to see what today brings. I'm ready. I'm ready. I like Tetris. Tetris is fun. I'm probably gonna screw up the first couple of rounds because, like I said, it's been a while. But we'll see what happens if I find my groove. Okay. Stop screaming. It's gonna be okay. It's like talking myself down from a panic attack some days. Yeah, this is not a good first round, but this is definitely a first round. Okay, well, did we at least make... Nah, we sucked that time. You know what, let's go change a thing real quick. Let's customize a little bit. Let's just do this one. Let's do this one. It's the classic. We'll start there. Okay. Let's go. More Tetris. I'm so glad people still play this game. Genuinely, it makes me so happy. Do. Come on, throw us in already. Yay! Already? Wow. My dude's getting aggro here. Okay. Weaponized Tetris now. I absolutely have the, every single time I hear this, all I think is the history of Soviet Russia set to the theme of Tetris. So all I have going through my head is the, then I see that I have misjudged it, I should not have nudged it after all. I am the man who arranges the blocks that descend upon me. That thing, yeah. Yeah, that just rent free in my head. And it doesn't help that, like, I've been playing Tetris since I was a wee babby fish. Like, aggressively. At one point, I had an original Game Boy, secondhand, but it was my main source of entertainment as I was regularly... Thanks, Dark Rio! Hi! Thanks for showing up! But yeah, I had a secondhand original Game Boy that was my, my only entertainment doing, like, 6 to 12 hour car rides as a wee tiny child. And for a while, the only two games I had were Tetris, like the original Tetris, and Yoshi's Cookie. And boy, did I play the crap out of those. Oh, I think I got this time. We'll see. Oh boy, this is not... Yep, that's not pretty. Almost made top 50. Yoshi's Cookie is like a match block game type of thing where you get 4 or 5 different patterns to start with that are all cookie shapes, like shortbread and little like dimple cookies, whatever. And you've got like 3 rows of 3 and you've got to match them all up so they're like same cookie goes from one end to the other of a row. And they'll throw more at you and it gets more and more complicated, and it's like early arcade build because it hits an impossible difficulty for the mortal man, more or less. But there are literally like almost endless levels to that game. It's kind of like an inverse of Tetris. But yeah, doing all these car trips, I just had basically puzzle games. And would just play them for hours on end, because it was that or count the road signs. And I'd counted them enough at that point. I think part of the reason I'm not great at following maps nowadays is because I grew up just like, I don't know how to put this, but orienting myself by exit signs on interstates. Which sounds really silly when I put it like that. Let me in. Oh no! Oh no, I did that bad. Oh no, that was all me. That was a Kawari special. Ah! A boost. A boost. I've been a boost. How rude. I gotta break top 50, man. This is embarrassing. I haven't been this bad in a while. I've never won a match of Tetris 99, but I have regularly, like, spent hours playing and just consistently been in, like, the top 10. Can I have a long one, please? Why must these infernal box tears lives forever in my head? I'm never getting rid of it. I've tried. I can't get rid of it. It lives there. It's paying rent now. Oh shit, that was quick. I was not expecting it to go that fast. Ouch. 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 Alright, we're gonna fix this. Can't even look at myself right now, man. Yeah, it does get crazy. It's been... Man, I think maybe a handful of times I've been knocked out in the top 10. This is wild. Either I'm having an off day or, like, I'm only playing against hardcore people right now. Maybe a little bit of both. Who knows? Yes. Yes, and yes, and then yes, and then yes. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Book it. I make the blocks go. Yeah, I guess I got it right now. That's okay. Yes. Yes. Also yes. Also thank you. Perfect. Finally, top 50. Finally broke that. Uh-oh. That's neither awesome nor fantastic. Shit. Well. Did what I said I was gonna do. I broke top 50. Let's do that again. Slowly climbing up that hill. Slowly remembering that I'm good at this game. Most chaotic build style, I know. Wah, 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 wah. La 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 la. Wah, wah, wah. That's okay. That's okay. Because we do this. And then we go here. And then we go here. Wah, 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 wah. No. No. I keep having to say no. It's like you're not listening. I do not consent to this sort of fuckery. I'm toast. I'm toast, man. Yeah. Shit. Shit. Ah. I hope you've been having a good day, Dark Rio. Oh no. Oh no. I saw a meme about this once. What? So fast. So quick to the fuckery. No chill. Not exactly how I wanted to play that, but you do what you gotta do. Good. Jesus Christ on a Cracker Jack. Okay. Haha. Take that. Down. No. Ah! That was on me. God damn it. Thank you. Woo, almost out of the bullshit zone. Yay! I hate having blocks like just left to the side, empty in the stack. It drives me so crazy. I know that's like, you know, common Tetris comment, but like, it will literally distract me from actually doing the rest of the game. I will be like, no, must clean, must get rid of bubble. You go here. 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 You go in here for a moment. You go there. You go there. 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 Yes. Yes. Shit. Why is everybody ganging up on me? Oh, you too, Dark Rio? That makes me feel better. Look at this. Everybody's attacking me. I'm getting beaten up. Shut up! Stop picking on me, man. Let me pick on you for a minute. Ah! I make the best noises. Whee! Ah! Ah! Oh, now I'm borked. Ah! That didn't even move. I'm not even panicking. I'm just not moving as fast as I need to. I'm getting surprised, but I am actually pretty calm. I'm just very good at making noises. Almost made it to top 10 again. Almost back where I belong. Let's go. Come on, join in. Yay, people. Let's just do this to be on the safe side for a minute. Because, yeah, I had a feeling something like that was gonna happen. No! Yeah, I just noticed that bot. Hold on. Working on it. Hold on. I'm very slow at this. There we go. Yeah, I got a button. The button got in my way, and I'm very good at computers. I am a retro gamer primarily for a reason. It's just getting a lot harder to get all my retro stuff hooked up and running. So I'm trying to, like, you know, branch out a little bit. Maybe play some newer stuff hither and thither. Also looking for, like, remakes and remasters of a lot of my older games. Found out a while ago there's a Panzer Dragoon one, and haven't played it in way too long, but I need to pick that back up again because Panzer Dragoon is wonderful. Oh, well, you know, if you want to join Tetris 99, I won't be sad. Games might happen faster. I used to have a group of friends that would get together like once a week or so. Or we'd try to at least. And we'd just end up playing Nintendo games, and it almost always ended up with like me pulling out my Switch and just playing this as we chatted. Ah! Good job, Kawari. Top tier execution. Let's go here. Let's go here. I don't like this. I don't like this even a little bit. This is gonna be a quick one. Ah, you didn't even move all the way over. Ah! Quick one! I had to go into work today, but as a reward to myself for having to do the hard thing, I stopped and got myself a lychee soda on the way home, and I nearly just spilled it all over my keyboard. Thankfully, nothing happened, but it was one of those very almost moments. Ah! Drop! 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 I guess. Okay. And go, and go, and go. I've worked myself into such a way here. Whee! Ah. Ah! Whoopsie. Built myself into a right state over there. Just hold out just a little longer. Yes! No. You're not leaving me with much choice as to what to do, game. Like that. Rude. Already being targeted. Wahoo! I still have, and I cannot, like, I keep getting internally distracted by the history of Soviet Russia set to the theme of Tetris playing on the loop in my head. This is so ridiculous. I did this to myself somehow. Hate that I had to do that. Hate that I have to do this. Ugh. And the line will be formed as they fall. Then I see that I have misjudged it. I should not have nudged it after all. You just go here for right now. I'm so irritated with you, Block. You go right there. I'm ridiculous. I'm sorry. Ah! Yes, I'm aware it's a very precarious position we're in. Thank you, you're very helpful. Gotta. Ugh. Shit balls. Ah! Thanks. Ah, shit. Ah, Jesus, you didn't even go in the right spot. Well, held out. Hi, kawaii cuties. Hey, I leveled up. Oh, I left my mouse on this screen. I'm a silly goose. Queen of the Jank, that's me. Gonna have my own theme song soon, just watch. Be like an 80s sitcom. I accidentally made a rainbow there. That made me inordinately pleased for just being a random thing. I'm so easy to amuse sometimes. Ooh, colors! Yay! The Kawaii Koi experience. I'm good, Kawaii. Thank you. I'm glad to hear you are good too. I'm still kind of in like overfed drowsiness from yesterday and I love it. Very much in a food coma. I made so much mac and cheese. That was my breakfast this morning, mac and cheese and pumpkin pie. Yes, food pregante is a great feeling. I do love being food pregnate. I just hate it when my soda breaks. Alright, okay. Sorry, Dark Rio. To be fair, I picked that one up from an old football buddy I had. We would go to buffets together. And that was his way of saying we needed to go. I mean, yes, but it's also kind of hilarious. Ah, shit, son. That's just rude. You don't gotta be like that. I'm getting there. I'm getting my wheels re-greased. I've hit top 20 a couple times. So that's pretty rad. Oh, I loved Uma Musume. I cannot wait to play it again. I am having so much fun with that game, and I'm already planning on, like, doing career repeats with some of the horses. This is all just my training arc for my big anime moment when I get to run Rice Shower and have all of the feelings about my best girl. That's gonna be a thing when that finally happens. I'm probably honestly gonna try to finish the new season or What's Up with Cinderella Grey over this weekend, because haunts. What am I doing? Dumb things, that's what I'm doing. Yes. 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 Also yes. Some more yes. And then that. So that's a good question, Kawhi, about other games I'll be streaming. It's honestly a pretty wide variety, because I have a pretty big retro game collection. Unfortunately, a lot of my equipment needs some form of surgery right now, so we're kind of waffling through what I have easy access to. But I'm also playing a lot of like Steam horror games that I've come across and wanted to play. Like I've been doing No, I'm Not Human. I actually just picked up Soma for the first time on the recommendation and I'm loving it. I've been pulling out, like, I pulled out some Super Nintendo and some Dreamcast stuff earlier in the month, and I'm probably gonna do more of that because that's definitely my jam. But I'm also open to recommendations if people have games that they think are particularly rad. Dude, I thought that had already processed. Can I? Yes, I can! Haha! This got very intense very quickly. Just gonna pop you down. I don't want to hold on to you right now. That feels like a curse. I see. It is a curse. Gotcha. Yes. You go there. You go here, because you gotta. You go here, you go here. You go here. You go here. You go there. Chaos abates. Oh, stop it. That's what I thought. Screw it. Excuse you? Excuse you? That is not where I told you to go at all, you rude thing. Ah. Rat shaker? I don't know what you mean with rat shaker. Thank you. I'll be happy when I can clear top 10 again. I'm feeling less embarrassed with myself now, but I'll be happy when I can clear top 10 again. Rat Shaker's a horror game? Okay.
I'll look into that. I'll check it out a little. I really like, unfortunately, I like a lot of games that make me motion sick right now. And I don't know if it's just like to do with my current health nonsense thing that I got going on, or if it's just something that like happens TM. But I love playing Phasmophobia until suddenly I'm too motion sick and I gotta lie down. And I gotta take it slow with like Soma, it turns out, because that's also making me a little bit motion sick. So. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop trying to play them, because I love them so much. I have a few horror games that are PS2 horror that I want to get my PS2 working the most for, because there are some old PS2 games that are hard to find. One of them is Siren. One of them is Kuon. And I would like to be able to, like, give people the experience of those games, among a few others, but those in particular. Because there's just something pretty wild about old J horror that you don't really see too often anymore. I got Kuon before the price of it skyrocketed. I used to manage a retro video game shop, and a lot of my customers and I would just kind of chat about stuff and about our favorite games, because that's what you do, right? When you're doing that sort of thing, you have a mutual interest, you're gonna geek out about it. And all of my customers knew the story of how I had ended up with, like, back when GameStop used to do their sort of like pity buy discount bin, like, here's a game in one of our branded sleeves, you get nothing beyond the discs, we'll take $3 for it. That's when I first came across Kuon. Was literally in like an apology bin at a GameStop. I don't think they had any clue what they were working with. And later on, I had a customer at the video game shop who was looking to unload a lot of his collection. And among them were like Kuon and like Rule of Rose and a couple others. So once I can get my PS2 working, we'll be pulling those out. Or at least the Siren, the Kuon, the ones I mentioned. Because I didn't buy everything he had. There was no way I could have afforded that. Man, if I had actually bought everything that came through the door of that shop that I wanted, I wouldn't have had food 5 years ago. Just from the cumulative debt that would have been. Because, like, okay, when you do that sort of like weirdly specialty niche retail, you're gonna think you've seen everything until somebody walks in with something you didn't even think could have existed, let alone been mass produced, right? And where I was, there wasn't a huge market for like PAL titles specifically for like the PS1, PS2 era. They're just, people were all interested in the Japanese or the English releases, not the European releases. Which was a shame, because Europe got some of the weirder games from Japan that we did not on the NTSC labeling. And I had somebody come in with just like this like briefcase, like luggage full of old PS1 games that were all PAL, but it was things you'd never see. Like, it was both copies, both different versions of Elemental Gearbolt, which was this weird sci-fi rail shooter that was extremely anime. Extremely anime. And there were 2 separate disc releases, but you would only know if you bought them both and looked at the inside of the jewel case, because it was dependent on the artwork inside the jewel case which one you had, or determined by. And this dude had spent years hunting them both down. And then he had, like, I don't know, Vib Ribbon. I don't think Vib Ribbon ever got an NTSC release. If it did, it was very limited. But that was like, in its own way, sort of the godfather to the old Xbox 360 equalizer sort of visualizer thing. But as a game with a bunny. But, like, being a video game shop and not just enthusiastic collectors, we couldn't always take things that, you know, wouldn't go out the door. So there were times I had to turn people away, not because what they had wasn't fantastic, because it very often was, but because it was just too hard to explain to somebody else or convince somebody to buy it. Monster House for the PS2? Monster House is fun. Monster House is definitely fun. I also do love janky games, though. Like, I am not gonna lie. I have a soft spot in my heart for games that try TM. One of my favorites in that regard is, it's called Eternal Sonata. And it's a turn-based RPG of sorts, where you've got your classic, you know, magic user, fighter, bard, Frederick Chopin, you know, your regular adventuring party. Yeah. So, this game, on paper, should be like the wildest thing ever. Yes, for the PS3. It's for the PS3 and the 360. And it was astonishingly failed at, like, every turn in development and release. There's an entire chapter that you get on the PS3 release that the 360 players never even knew about, that actually gives you more of the story. So if you felt lost playing the one that had all of the information, imagine what it was like for the poor folks that were missing a key plot point there. But if you go back and look at it, right, it's some of the best game developers of the time. It's the same house that did, like, Baten Kaitos and for the GameCube, and it's or I guess that was first Dreamcast. Well, no, that was GameCube. But it's the same team that did that. And if you look at the voice actors, it's everybody, right? It is Spike from Cowboy Bebop. It's Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. It's Izzy from Digimon. It's like all of these incredible voice actors that, like, nowadays they can't find the time to sign on to all the projects that ask for them. But at this point, they were doing this thing, and, like, every element of this game, it has great voice acting. The key failure is in the writing. The writing is so bad that it makes things like Harmageddon look good. And that's saying something. I don't know if you've seen Harmageddon. That's an old 80s sci-fi. It's well done, but it's badly done at the same time, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's Eternal Sonata tries, and it's got fantastic, like, battle mechanics. I genuinely love the battle system in that game because, like, depending on if you're standing in shadow or in sunlight, it determines what spell range and what spell type your character might have access to. So you've got entirely different like offensive and defensive builds for depending on like if it's day or night or cursed or blessed or whatever, right? It's like, okay. Weird niche reference time. But it's like they wanted to make something in the Shadow Hearts Kadelka sort of vein and just fell shy of it. That's the only way I can explain Eternal Sonata. What's the best horror game, Dark Rio? Barbie as the Island Princess. Oh good. I'm glad we're having this conversation. Alright, because I am that nerd, did you know that there's actually a Barbie game that's considered like the best in its game style? Because the Barbie Horse Girl game for the original Xbox is like to this day considered one of the best horse simulator games, like ranch simulator, horse simulator games you can find. Oh no, horses. I know. I can't tell you how many times I had the very confused conversation with people coming in asking for a horse game for their adult gamer daughter. And they're like, I don't know why she wants this Barbie game. I'm like, I know. I'm not gonna have this conversation with you because it's not my place, but I know. Your daughter will tell you when she's ready to tell you that she's horse gay. It's okay. I wish I was trolling you. I genuinely wish I was trolling you. I thought I was being trolled the first time I heard it. The first time I had somebody unironically come up and ask me for Barbie's Horse Adventure, Barbie Horse. I thought this was like, you know, Battletoads for the Wii or some shit. But no. No, it's real. It's real, and it's horrifying. No, there's a game that trolled you. Oh. Oh, okay. I mistook that. My apologies. Oh, yes. See, the two things I remember most about Bard's Tale are that it's Tony J as the narrator. And that man has had like a direct line to my brain ever since the first episode of Reboot I saw as a tiny child. And then I remember the ending of Bard's Tale. Ultimately the three choices you can make. Good, evil, and alcohol. The ending, the choice of ending in Bard's Tale, it was... Yeah. Uh, Also, if you haven't seen Reboot, if I'm just like talking the old lore here and I start going off on something and you're like, what the hell is this thing? I can explain my weird niche media tastes if you're interested. Just let me know if I'm going off on a weird place. You have seen Reboot? Oh, good. I tried to watch the reboot they did, and that was a mistake. So I went back and I watched Reboot. Like almost all of it, what I could find at least. And man, it still holds up. Like, you gotta give it a little bit of grace because there is that early 90s CGI to it. Which it literally was like the first fully CGI show, so, you know. Oh, there's a reboot of Reboot and it's so bad because it's God, I'm gonna mess this up if I try to remember it off the cuff. But it was basically a dude reskinning his already failed pilot series into the Reboot franchise, and it completely disregarded everything that happened in like Reboot canon. Like I don't know how far you got into how weird and dark that show got, but like Hexadecimal. Man, Hexadecimal got done so dirty in that reboot. That was my like nerd rage moment. That was when I was done. Because her whole character arc in the original was just like one of the best. And then you're like, oh, but what if none of this happened? What if she was just a caricature of a character? That's better, right? You got a whole season through? My dude, you're stronger than me. I couldn't get like 4 episodes through. I tried. I could not. It hurt my heart. I saw what they did to like all of the characters. I was like, okay, so like we're kind of, you know, keeping elements of that first storyline with the whole... Yes, reboot the Guardian Code. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it aside from the bad reboot. And that's a mouthful. But yeah, I was already getting irritated with how they kept like changing their minds mid-scene as to whether this was a hard reboot of the entire series or we still came back from the net. And then Hex came in on the back of Megabyte's glider thing, and I was so upset. I was so upset. That's still way more than I got through. That is a level of internal strength I do not have. Of course. Boop. I wanted to like it so much, too. I was so excited for that. I'm just traumatized by the reboot failure. I don't know how it got more than a pilot episode. I don't know how it got anything aside from laughed out of a boardroom. It was bad. It was just so bad. I feel like the joke series in Seinfeld, the show about nothing that they pitch, which was, you know, them pitching Seinfeld, I feel like that had more of an in-depth board meeting than fucking Guardian Code did. And on top of all that, okay, we've hit a Kawari rant point. Get ready, buckle your pants. We've hit a point now where I'm going to go on a little mini tangent rant here. Why are we getting remakes of things like She-Ra and you know, Carmen Sandiego, which are perfectly fine, and sitting where they need to be, and yet nobody's coming in and giving like Pirates of Dark Water or goddamn SWAT Cats another try, because those deserve something. Those were way ahead of their time and so good and had so much potential that got squandered, absolutely squandered, and the disrespect on their names, my god. SWAT Cats. Did you ever watch SWAT Cats? Do you know SWAT Cats? SWAT Cats was wild. SWAT Cats was two cats that worked as, I think they were flight mechanics? I can't remember exactly. I just remember a lot of jumpsuits. And like, they were like Batman mixed with Top Gun, but also cats. With a little bit of like Mission Impossible thrown in. But also cats. And I can't stress this enough, they were very much cat. Or then you have, like, all of the weird, excellent media that, like, didn't get the credit it deserved when it came out for being as revolutionary as it was. Canada didn't have SWAT Cats. That's a shame. I am sorry. That is, if you can find it, I've had a hard time finding it, personally. I feel like I'm the only person in this Mandela effect sometimes, you know? Between Between SWAT Cats and Pirates of Dark Water and the old Gummy Bears cartoon, I felt like I was a crazy person, because these were things my cousins had all shown me, because I grew up on, like, secondhand media. So these were all things my cousins had shown me and been like, here, look at this tiny child. And, like, all of my D&D friends love the idea of a D&D show for kids, but none of them will sit down and watch Disney's Gummy Bears, aka Advanced D&D for Babies. It is the wildest shit. Okay. Gummi Bear. And it had its, like, almost Winnie the Pooh style theme song, and, like, most of the Disney Winnie the Pooh actors were in it, so, like, a lot of the voices carry over. But your basic premise is you have these mythical talking bears that used to be very prevalent in the medieval fantasy world where this story takes place. And they had this wild-ass magic potion that basically temporarily turned you into a limitless superhuman. Well, they didn't like the way things were happening in the world of man and pulled a Tolkien elf and just yeeted themselves thither to the west. Right? Except for a handful of them that stuck around to keep things going and protect things. Well, we enter the story when there's this jerk trying to take over the kingdom. The humans' kingdom. He's got the trolls on his side. And they're like big, ugly, ogre-y looking trolls. And there's a page boy who loves the princess, who finds the gummy bears that everybody thought was extinct. And he finds them. And he helps them discover their lost heritage, because all of the other gummy bears have disappeared far, far, far long ago. And they're just like working like tech priests in 40K. They've got dregs of information that they can't piece together because they've never had the chance to have the schematics, right? And it's a high fantasy show, and you've got basically your D&D classes from 2nd edition and made for kids, but will fuck you up the way dinosaurs would. That would have been on the Disney Channel, and cable was weird back then. It might have been. I remember seeing it on my public access channel as a kid, but I also had cousins who had like VHS copies of it because big family, so you just record it for the kids and pass it around and everybody gets to watch it, which was like honestly a totally common thing when VHSs were still a thing. And my family held on to technology well beyond its time. So that was neat. All of my friends are playing Xbox and I got a Super Nintendo. Cyber Chase. Oh my gosh, I remember Cyber Chase. I absolutely forgot that existed for a second there. I don't think I was able to watch a whole lot of Cyber Chase just because of the way my schedule worked out as a kid. 'Cause I did a few weird extracurriculars, and timing was very unkind. I didn't even realize we'd hit top 50 already. Whoopsie. I'm paying attention to the game, I promise. You're just gonna chill here. You're gonna pop there for right now. All good. Whoop. No! No, you don't. Excuse you? No.
Ah, rude.
Dark Rio, did you ever see Pirates of Darkwater? Because that's another one of those, like, epic fantasy wasted on children who weren't ready for it. That's a big nope. That's understandable. Most, like I said about that one, most of the people I know have never seen most of the media I've seen and feel like I'm making things up on the regular because I'll reference like everything we've talked about or this weird claymation fever dream of a show called Bump in the Night that lived rent-free in my head for a decade before I confirmed it was actually real. But Pirates of Darkwater was one of those that I am a little crazy. I am exceptionally weird. Hi Dachi, thanks for coming in. Hope you're doing well today. I'm talking about how I only know like the most cryptid of media. Uh, so far I've talked about gummy bears and Pirates of Darkwater and SWAT cats, and I was just about to go off on this show called Bump in the Night. Because it was what? Oh gosh, that must have been late 80s or early 90s media. But it was a claymation show about the monster that lived under your bed and his best friends, the rag doll in your sister's room, and the blob that lived in the toilet. I didn't make the show, I didn't make the rules, I was just morbidly fascinated by it every time I got the chance to see it. It sounds like you're not wrong there, Tachi. You're not wrong. That does sound exactly like that, but it was, oh gosh. I saw that on, I think I saw that on like public TV, but my public TV also had this like old Alice in Wonderland show that it would do reruns of. Plus you're Canadian. That's fair. I don't know where in Canada you are from, but I had family in the Toronto area for a long time, and I quickly quit taking French classes in school when they were teaching continental French, and I got made fun of for my accent. And then I switched to Japanese. The Canadian accent is... I got made fun of for how in my nose I was. Which sounds kind of counterintuitive, but there's a... Gosh, I'm trying to find a way to explain this. There's a way that French sounds nasally, and there's a way that French sounds tunnely. And I was trying to do one, and failing very badly because all I knew was the other. I did a daily mission! Look at that! Ah! Yes, I remember when you told me about Dementia Anime Tachi. You were wrong? Oh no, I've been misinformed. What's up? Oh, okay, they changed it to avant-garde. Fascinating. Dark Rio. Yeah, you cheated on a test and then didn't have to do French anymore. Dude, I respect that a lot. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Tachi. It is a little bit pretentious. Like, when I hear avant-garde, my first thought is like, well, I'm not even thinking anime, I'm thinking like Shadow of the Colossus. I don't know if I'd put some of the anime we were talking about in the same category or league as Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, I'll have to do a little looking at that. I haven't had much chance to do much of anything today. I woke up, I ate leftovers, I had to go into work for a little bit, and then I came home and put in Tetris, and now we're here. And now you're all caught up on my day. So yeah, talking about old TV shows and stuff and old games, yeah. Gosh. I've got Pirates of Darkwater on the brain right now, but there were a lot that, like... Also, because for a long time in my childhood, I actually lived pretty close to the Canadian border. I was exposed to things like the Red Green Show. And all of my friends knew not the Red Green Show. And I would say things like, keep your stick on the ice, and they'd have no idea what I was referencing when I told them if they couldn't be handsome, they should at least be handy. But yeah, let's see, weird kids shows. I don't know, man. There were some that I saw. Okay, I have this incredible habit of being the only person to find a piece of media for long enough that I've convinced myself I must have made it up. And it's only upon firmly convincing myself that I have deluded this game into some sort of vague existence in my head that I find the truth of it. Prime example is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. I do this with TV shows too, but this is the best example I have. This is one of only 2 times in my life I have thrown a controller. Yeah, like I felt like I've Mandela affected myself. But so, a little bit of background on this game. It's a Super Nintendo game, but it was one of, if not the last, Nintendo-made Super Nintendo titles that actually reached market. Because, like, Star Fox 2 never reached market, which is why it was put on the SNES Classic. Because it was, like, 95% complete. They were just fine-tuning a couple things, and then they're like, sorry, psych, we're moving on to the N64, bye! So, that was a whole thing. But this game, the Super Mario RPG, was a SNES release, but used, I think it was 2 of the graphics chips. So you were actually able to move around, like, in a full, I won't say full 360 motion, because it's not like the controller totally supported that. But a pretty good approximation of, like, 3D mapping. But it was still isometric, and it was still, like, it looked more like modern interpretations of that retro indie style than it actually looked like a 16-bit game. And I'd gotten a copy of it with my Super Nintendo from a cousin and lent it to a friend. And I shit you not, in the 2 weeks my friend had it, she lost her home to a house fire. So she came to stay with me and my family during that time, and I went out to go try to find us another copy of this game. But I am the exact flavor of ADHD to not remember titles very well, as you've probably noticed. Words are hard, words are very hard, and then I have Dane Bramage on top of that, which makes it expert level. So that's neat. But I would go into, like, all the game stores near me, and I'd be like, I'm looking for this Mario game. Oh, I should mention, also, this is an RPG. This is a Square-made Mario game. This game is the reason that the Paper Mario series exists. Because this was the first, like, real Mario RPG. So I'm walking into game stores, right? And I'm trying to remember the name of the game, and I can't, and I'm going to stores that still have a used section that goes back to the Super Nintendo, which is tricky at this point, right? It was like the last few years that could even happen much without finding specifically a retro store. So I'm going into these stores, and I'm walking up to people and I go, hi, I'm looking for this Mario game, but it plays like Final Fantasy, but it's definitely Mario, and it's for the Super Nintendo, but it looks like it's for the N64, and Princess Toadstool has a frying pan and a sheep. Because that's all I could, like, describe to anybody to remind, like, categorize this game. That was it. That was the best I had in me. It wasn't much, but it was there. And the look I got from everybody was basically, oh, what drugs do they have you on, tiny child? It'll be okay. Anyway, I end up getting a Wii years and years and years later. And I'm looking through the virtual console on that thing, and I see it for the first time since I lent my friend the copy. I see the image that was the label sticker for that game, and I have the controller in my hand, and I am so shocked that I throw my hands up in the air and the controller leaves a dent in the ceiling. And now they've remastered it. Now they've remastered that game. And now you can find a lot of people who know that game. But not then. No, then it was only me and my active imagination, according to everybody at any game store I went to. Turns out I was right the whole time. But yeah, that is one of only 2 times I have thrown a controller. The other time was also Super Nintendo related. I am not gonna lie. It was, yeah, I just didn't know how to say the game, and to be fair, the title's like 14,000 words long. It's less than I used to write papers in high school. Yeah. There are poems shorter than the title of that game. Anyway, the other game that made me throw the controller was this old Super Nintendo hateful home arcade title. It was the Lion King Super Nintendo game. It is, to this day, one of the hardest games I've ever played, and I don't think I've ever actually beaten it. Which, for somebody who is usually a bit of a completionist, that's saying a lot. And I spent literally years of my life trying to beat this game. And I don't think I ever have, now that I sit and think about it. This game was made to be like 80s arcade hard, but for the home console. And they did a couple Disney tie-in games like that. There was the Aladdin one, there was the Jungle Book one, and there was Lion King. Nintendo did gatekeep themselves for ages, yeah, in a lot of ways. All the way down to like the proprietary chipset in their cartridges. Like all the way back at the original Nintendo, they were gatekeeping hard, which is where Tenko even came from. But that's me going on a tangent. But as if I weren't already on a tangent. But yeah, there were tie-in games on the Genesis and the Nintendo for Aladdin and Lion King and Jungle Book. And the Aladdin one is the one most people remember because like the Nintendo crowd got screwed on that. Because that was like shortly after the whole Mortal Kombat court, like Supreme Court case in the USA and like the ESRB and all that. So Nintendo was super leading hard into that whole family-friendly vibe. So whereas in, say, the Sega version of Aladdin, you got an actual weapon that did 2 damage. You got I think it was a scimitar? I can't remember. It's been ages. But you got a weapon that did 2 damage, or an apple that you could throw that did 1 damage. If you were a Nintendo kid, you got the apple, because we don't want to show kids with swords. That would be bad. Lion King, though, Lion King just didn't want you to beat it. Lion King wanted you to sit there for the next 40 years of your life, growing incessantly more angry, and incessantly more frustrated, and incessantly no closer to beating that game. I think I spent 8 months on the Stampede level, just trying to beat the one Stampede level. That's level 4 in that game. It's got like 12 or 13 levels. One level took me 8 months, 8 or 10 months. It was insane. I have a better time with the original Pac-Man than I do with goddamn Lion King. You would have dropped it after 2 hours? I probably should have. My stubbornness gets the better of me at times. It used to be a lot worse. Still happens every now and again, but that's proof of it. The fact that I tried to beat any of those old hateful Nintendo games. Although, because people will talk about what is my favorite game, like, of all time? Huh. It honestly kind of depends on the day and the console. Because, like, Ocarina of Time is always going to have a very special place in my heart. Always, always. I think that's the first game I really, truly 100%ed, and the first game I was able to beat, like, in one sitting. I tore that game apart. I looked for every nook and cranny and every crevice. I found every secret in that game. But also, Donkey Kong Country is probably where I've spent actual years of my life, like in the first two. But also, and here's where it gets funny. I really, really, really cannot tell you how much I love, oh shoot, I pressed the button. I didn't mean to press the button. I was busy talking and not paying attention. Talking about games I love. Oh my gosh, where was I? I was talking about, oh no, I lost my train of thought. I got thought cul-de-saced. Ah! Hold on, I'll find it. Crap! Oh no! Hold on, we'll get back there. You just gotta give me a second because I'm super smart right now. I actually just did a replay of Donkey Kong Country on my YouTube channel. I'll probably do another one here soon now that I'm like on both. And it was honestly a little hilarious because I got all the way to the King K. Rool boss fight and like got to the last bit of the boss fight and then game overed. Let's see. Favorite. So, if you'd asked me this question, like, yeah, about favorite games, if I have to pick one on the spot, it's going to be a Zelda game. It's probably going to be, like, Breath of the Wild, or A Link to the Past, or Ocarina of Time. But if I actually pull out my collection and start looking at things, I might go, but this. So, I'm gonna... No, I take it all back. I take it all back. My favorite game is the Sailor Moon RPG, where you could take the Sailor Scout's powers and fuse them. Like some Dragon Ball Z fusion. It is nice that I don't have to marry any game, because I'd get sick of it eventually, I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be a point in my life where I don't pick up Ocarina of Time. Eventually. Or, you know, Space Channel 5 or something like that. It'll happen, I'm sure. Oh, what I was going to say. Oh, before I got thought cul-de-sac. I remember now. What's the what? What, Dark Rio? That word's so good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this unfortunately did not meet an American audience. It's one of the... Japan got all the cool toys. Japan got every last cool toy, including the satellite system that attached to the Super Nintendo. But there's a Sailor Moon... There are a couple Sailor... Okay. Full disclosure, there's like 35 Sailor Moon video games. But this one in particular is an RPG for the Super Famicom, if we're being technical here. And it's, I think it's called Another Story. And, like the plot's not important. It's a Sailor Moon story they wrote just for the game, so it follows your standard Sailor Moon storyline, right? But you can build your own battle team. And you can have the Venus Love Me chain and circle fuse with Uranus Deep Earth shaking. Because why not? You know what? Maybe throw some Mercury or some Aqua Shine illusion in there too for funsies. You get to do that and see how it affects the enemies. You can find viable ISOs of it nowadays. So it's a lot easier to get your hands on. But my dude, there are so many things I could just start going off on like why Japan had it so good compared to us on this continent. Because like it is very Dragon Ball-y fan service. But it is fun, and it is whimsical, and it is the closest we got to any of the library of Sailor Moon games to make it across the pond. And I do love me some janky games. I'm not going to say it's janky, I'm just going to say it's definitely not, like, AAA quality, necessarily, especially by today's standards. But it's so fun. It's so fun. If you're a Sailor Moon fan, it's worth finding a copy of to play. But no, Japan got all the cool things, and like very limited North American markets even heard of them. Like the Vib Ribbon I was talking about earlier, which is you're like a DJ platforming game, but you're a bunny. And it's adorable, and it plays according to your CDs. Like, do you remember how... I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you knew the Monster Rancher series in the way long ago, but it was a thing. You know Vib Ribbon! Yes! Somebody knows my weird cryptid game lore. Oh, goodness. Anyway, I was saying a thing. There were words coming out of my face hole. Yeah, there were a lot of things that Japan got game-wise that we, like, could never have conceived of. Or got, like, super, super limited North American releases. There was a game that was based off of a North American 80s sitcom. And the game was only really released in Japan. And it got a sequel. And it is often described as some sort of Sailor Moon, Pinocchio, Miyazaki vibe. The first game is for the I think it's the NES, and it's called Wonder Project. And the second game is called Wonder Project J2, and that's the more magical girly one. The first one is a boy main character, and it does have a lot of the energy that the sequel has, but the sequel is its own beast. And it is straight up like if Miyazaki in his, like, I guess in his Nazca days, or like Castle in the Sky days, if he had done like a Pinocchio story, it would have been a magical girl. And it probably would have been the same sort of plot line. You've been looking at the whole catalog of old consoles for cool games? Oh, awesome! There's a lot that you can find, and a lot that's not good, but cool, if that makes sense. And when I say I have... Oh, yeah, no, there's a lot that are super cool looking and then miserable to play, both consoles and games. Like the Vectrex. The Vectrex was super cool to look at. But if you tried to play that thing for more than half an hour, your hands would go numb. And then, again, I'm just going to constantly hold that angry light for the way Nintendo did us dirty as small children playing their Disney games. Unbelievably rude. Yeah, just... I'm trying to not just rant about my favorite janky games. DS3? Legit. 500 hours? That's... Okay. I think the last game I dropped that much time on was Breath of the Wild. Okay, story time. You're here for the story time. I played Breath of the Wild so much that I was setting new goals for myself. Like collecting 100 of all of the items alongside my 100% play of Breath of the Wild. Because like I was so into that game. I loved it so much. I would just sit there and open explore for hours just for fun. Just for fun. And I've always been a Zelda fan. I love that mix of like high fantasy and high tech and horror and like whimsy all at once. It's so pretty when done right. And Zelda more often than not tends to nail it right on the head. But I got Tears of the Kingdom the night it came out. And I told myself that you have so many save files trying to cosplay characters in DS3. Dude, I feel that my very first cosplay was Rinoa Heartily from Final Fantasy VIII, and I had I had an entire memory card practically of like right before her cutscenes, so I could get everything right on that rather simplistic cosplay. But I was a wee tiny baby. I was so nervous about not getting it perfect. But, so I picked up Tears of the Kingdom literally at a midnight release. And I set it aside, telling myself it was going to be my reward for getting my VTuber up. Now, Kawari, you might be saying, that was literally years ago. Oh, to cosplay in the game? I gotcha. That makes sense too. That makes total sense. My brain went straight to cosplay because I did cosplay for a long time. but yeah. So I have been working on getting myself a VTuber model set up and going since I think January of 2021 was when I first started working on this. And several things kept roadblocking me and getting in the way, and almost gave up several times, especially because everything you are seeing... I have not gone to cons in my cosplay in a long time. I am considering doing it again, maybe. It's been many years. My poor health kind of got in the way of that, and you know, getting my streamers up. EN VTubers were a thing back then. HoloLive Myth debuted in, like, that summer. The summer before. And I was already vaguely aware, hither and thither, but that really kind of galvanized me into it. And everything you see on my screen at any given time, if it isn't like a game, is something I made. I did my loading screen, I did all my backgrounds, I did all my music, except for like one background track that plays now, but like my opening music's all me, all my waiting music, all that. I had to make that all by hand, and a lot of this I made on a tablet and then had to transfer over to an actual PC. But I am as stitched together as a handmade ragdoll. But that's also I am queen of the jank, because things may not necessarily be built all in one solid structure. It's a little bit like a Jenga tower here and there, because I had to get things popped together to fit based on what became 5 years of work. Oh, thank you, Tachi. But yeah, this is a half a decade of effort come together. It took so long that I even had to change my name twice, because I'd come up with a good name, and then, like, somebody big would debut with something uncomfortably close to that name. I'm not gonna say who, and I'm not gonna give any hints anywhere, but it was like 1 or 2 letters off from the names I had, and then had to be like, well, guess I gotta file for a name change now. So yeah, back to my point with all that. What I've been thinking of doing is finding a day of the week to do some Zelda. Just make it like dedicated Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom time. Because I like I said, I set it aside because it was my goal. It was my reward for getting all this going. And I feel like I finally got all this going. So I should do the reward thing. I also love Gorgoro. Minish Cap is super fun. Minish Cap threw me for a loop at first, because I wasn't used to that type of handheld, but I picked one up to play that game at first. My little brother had one of the systems, and I bullied him into letting me play it. Yeah, I went out and I bought the games, and I turned to my little brother and I was like, my dude, you should absolutely let me have your system for like 2 weeks, which turned into 2 months, but we don't need to talk about that. I love the music in Spirit Tracks. I think Spirit Tracks has some of the best Zelda music out there, and that's saying something. Because, like, the music in Zelda tends to be unparalleled in my oh-so-humble opinion. But Spirit Tracks, like, that's a soundtrack you can just pop on and, like, have a day. Train music is burned into your brain. I mean, I'm gonna be hearing Tetris for the next 5 or 6 work days, I'm certain. And what's worse, and I've mentioned this earlier in stream, but what's worse is I don't just hear the Tetris music. I hear that old YouTube video that's the history of Soviet Russia set to the theme of Tetris, the I am the man who arranges the blocks. So that's just on constant repeat right now. I can only wait to see what weird dreams I'm gonna have tonight. I messed that up. Well, let's go here, and then you go here, and then you go here. Boop. I don't want to, but it's probably the best boop. I feel so lost at the moment, like my brain just blue screened. I know I put the block in the hole. But what block? What hole? What do? Oh no. Brain just went flat for a moment there. So yeah, ultimately that whole tangent was to lead you into the fact that there's probably going to be a lot of Zelda in my streaming future. Thank you. We're getting close. I just looked up and realized that we are almost in the top 10. How dare you switch to Flight of the Bumblebee? Ah! Ah! How dare you! I've never been so betrayed! Ah, that was on me, though. That one was all me. Shit! Not where I meant to put you. Okay. I think we just signed the end there. You won't go. Oh, but you went over what I thought you weren't going to. Truly cruel. Ah. Top 5. I will take it. Tachi, thanks for coming around. Have a good night. Top 5 is back where I should be. Have a good night, Tachi. Thanks for coming in. Amazing. Thank you, Kawaii. Your favorite SNES or NES? Chrysalis, nice. Super Mario 3, Super Mario World, nice. I love Super Mario World, and I love Yoshi's Island, the Super Mario World 2. But I can't watch the opening of it because it still makes me cry. Both Zelda, respect, yes. For N64, Majora's Mask does not get the love it deserves, in my opinion. PS1, Final Fantasy 7 and 9, PS2, Breath of Fire, Dragon Quarter, Final Fantasy 10. Legit, I notice the distinct lack of Final Fantasy 8 on that list. And while I understand it, It does hurt my heart a little bit. 8 comfortably falls in that I love it because it's jank category. Because by all rights, 8 should have, like, never actually made it to production. I don't know if you know this, but it was a flustercluck there at that time. So the same team that was working on 8 was also working on 9 and also working on the movie, the first Final Fantasy movie. So there's a lot of stuff that, much like Eternal Sonata, just doesn't make sense if you play it, because a lot of it was plot lines that got left on the cutting room floor, and they didn't have the time to go in and edit it properly to be cohesive. So it's just this well-intentioned clusterfuck. The movie that was bad, yeah, the movie that was super bad. But they tried, and they were doing something that at the time was honestly pretty revolutionary as far as even making that effort. So, like, yeah, it's bad, but it exists. It was a necessary stepping stone to get where we are today. But ultimately, it was the same team trying to build 3 buildings at once, and not passing notes to each other properly. So there's a whole lot that's just missing from what should be there. And there's the bones of a really great game in 8. And I'm always a sucker for a good time travel story. FF8 was a hard game to play, and little you didn't know what to do after the mission you run away from the robot spider. That is extremely fair. I also, okay, I do appreciate and often have a soft spot for games that fuck with me, which is why Eternal Darkness is on my list of, like, favorites. But also why Final Fantasy VIII is on my list of favorites. Because I am a completionist. I used to be a lot worse about it than I am, but it still wiggles within me. I had dropped enough hours on disc 1 of Final Fantasy VIII that the clock reset. The like timer clock on your save file completely reset. And it was just like all red. And so I'm on the 4th disc. I'm in the beginning of the 4th disc. I'm on my first playthrough. I'm feeling like I'm on fire because I'm finally like making close to the end progress here. Oh my god. Disc basically starts out throwing you into a boss battle. My genius ass did not pay enough attention to battle systems in the game, that I put way too much effort into the GF mechanic and not enough into the mechanic I needed to for that boss fight, and there was no way, like literally no way in the game for me to exit out of this dungeon I was in and go back and fix it. So I had to restart. From like square one. Oh, Kawaii, Resident Evil as a kid was scary to play? No, that's... Okay, Resident Evil plays way scarier than it deserves to, because that resource management is so stressful in that game. They hand you like a piece of twine and a sandwich and tell you to survive for the next 30 days. That is rough for anybody, in my opinion. Code Veronica is my favorite Resident Evil. Code Veronica is my favorite Resident Evil because it is the most, like... I won't say melodramatic, but it is definitely the most, like, classic Hammer horror of the Resident Evils, in my opinion. It definitely has that, like, overdone, almost gothic horror element to it while still being perfectly Resident Evil. You stopped Code Veronica after the first zombie pop-up? That is extremely fair. But if you haven't seen to the end of Resident Evil Code Veronica, do I have a treat for you coming up? That's probably going to be the next Dreamcast game I pull out. Because I have a personal a personal issue with Capcom, who have publicly stated several times now that they are going to remake all of the classic Resident Evil games with a big fat asterisk, and that asterisk is, yeah, not Code Veronica. And that's rude. And that's wrong. Like, just objectively, it's wrong. Code Veronica is such a great game. So I'm gonna fix it myself, and I'm gonna pull out Code Veronica, and I'm gonna stream Code Veronica, and we're gonna scream at zombies together. And if you're at all a Resident Evil fan, you deserve to see the, I mean, you know, it's Resident Evil. There's always some monster creature at the end of the game, right? Always, always, always. The one at the end of Code Veronica is, I have a fondness for it. The PS2 version is good. Arguably, the PS2 version worked out a lot of the bugs that the Dreamcast one had. Game I'm looking to find still, and I'm gonna see if I can find a decent way to recreate it, not necessarily on console. But it's a Dreamcast game that came out, like, I think it was a matter of days before they announced, like, before or after they announced the death of the Dreamcast system. So that tells you how widely spread this game was, right? It's a horror game that is genre savvy and at times borders on parody, but is still an excellent horror game and actively messes with you as a player the way that, like, Eternal Darkness does. It's called Illbleed. The basic premise of this game is you are trapped in a horror-themed amusement park. And I mean trapped. And you've got to get through all of these different horror scenarios that are all based on wildly different horror microgenres. And some of them are like, ooh, spooky, gross, fungus zombies. And some of them are like, oh god, there are ghosts here and I'm definitely gonna die. And all of them have a mechanic where if you don't pay close enough attention to the tells in the game, you're gonna get psyched out the entire time about what is haunting you and what is just your character's brain going a little, like, too far into the spooky. Because both are actively happening at the same time. I've been looking for a copy of that game for a long time now. And I'm trying to find if anybody's done like a fan recreation or redistribution or something of it, because the only thing that kept it from being the hit it deserved was timing. It is, it's hard to explain because so much of the game is based on, like, simultaneously leaning into and breaking genre tropes that, like, to explain it takes away part of the charm. But yeah, it's a lot of fun and it's very good. It was not very good. Man, being a Dreamcast fan, like genuinely a Dreamcast fan, is so hard sometimes. Because, like, for so many people, Dreamcast is either, oh, the Sonic machine, or, oh, that failed console, or, oh, the console with the really bad games, like Seaman, and things like that. And people don't know about like, Illbleed, or even Typing of the Dead on the Dreamcast, or Space Channel 5, which is the third time I've mentioned that this stream. It's the third time it's been relevant this stream. It is a dance rhythm game where you fight aliens with Michael Jackson as a playable character. Jet Set Radio. I'm probably also gonna pull that one out. The music from Jet Set Radio and Jet Grind Radio Future actually live on my regular playlist. I love the Jet series so much. So much. And another one that was criminally ahead of its time. Could you imagine if, like, okay, so this series obviously inspired Splatoon, but could you imagine if that had come out, like, during the Splatoon hype? If just out of nowhere there was a Jet Set Radio game that was just like, hey, sup? That would have been explosive. Absolutely explosive. People would have lost their minds over graffiti and rad music. You have a demo for the Dreamcast? I think I might actually... You know, that might be a fun stream. I think I've still got some demo discs somewhere. I think I've still got, like, a small collection of demo discs. Pulling them out and just popping them on might actually be a fun thing to do sometime. I hadn't thought about that before. But with all the weird stuff I got, it might be worth it. Yeah, just do like a level or two in games and be like, yeah, this game never actually made it to American markets. A lot of them didn't. Because at that time, like, the release of the Dreamcast system, you had like, oh, what was it? Like a 3 to 6 month delay between continents as far as game releases because of localizations and everything else that came into it. So there were a number of things that we got like demos for, advertised demos for, that we never saw. Apparently, I'm in a weird lore mood. So let me ask you guys this question. Do you remember the original batch of Xbox 360s having a critical melting error? That infamous red ring of death that required you to get a whole new system? Do you remember that? Because if you do, I have some weird and wild history for you. Because that was like the first few years of that system. That was an infamous problem. Okay. Yeah. It was the notorious red ring of death, or RROD. I'm pretty sure you could just type RROD into a Google search and you would get red ring of death. The critical error inside an Xbox 360, blah, 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 right? So, that, again, the 360, which launched in, what, 05? 04? Somewhere around there. That problem ultimately dates back to a decision Nintendo made in 84. And it wasn't fixed until 2006. But the first like critical failure series of Xbox 360s was caused because of ultimately the video game crash. But it was because Nintendo, when they released the NES, like that very, very first NES, it was kind of a Trojan horse. Because shortly before that, you had the video game crash of 83. And so video games were no longer cool. You couldn't have video games in your house anymore, man. Nobody has gaming computers at home. That's lame, comma, man. So they had to be inventive, and they were. First off, That's why cartridge cases all looked like VHSs, and now why like disc cases look like DVDs. It's to maintain that illusion that it's distinctly not a game case. If you look at Japanese cases or even GameCube games, they're closer to the size of Switch cases, right? They're not sized like ours are, where it's the size of a DVD case and it just says GameCube down the side. Ours, in North America especially, are meant to mimic DVD cases to socially hide them. Well, in the 80s, going back to what I was saying, Nintendo did that first release of NES consoles. And specifically NES, not Famicom, because Famicom was doing fine as a market in Japan. But they couldn't get North American markets to buy into a video game console post-crash like that. So what they did was they paired it with the ROB, the R-O-B. If you've played Smash Bros, you've seen like the trophies of him, and he's even a playable character, and there's like, I think he's in Mario Kart nowadays. He shows up all the time. He's a little robot that looks like number 5 from Short Circuit. He's certified good boy. He's great. He was Nintendo's Trojan horse. Nintendo released the NES console with the ROB toy and released it as a family toy. The console was just the vehicle to be able to play with the robot. So it was released as a children's toy. Right? And that's how they got back into the video game market. Yeah, he's a bike only now. I noticed that. That is tragic. Although the bike is adorable. But yeah, R.O.B. Certified Best Boy. Anyhoozle, they made the decision to market it as a children's toy. This is key and critical information. It stayed that way for many, many years. Any video game you would often find in like the kids section or the toy section, because they had been marketed and licensed and you know, certified, all the legal stuff, as a children's toy. Now, in a lot of markets, we're going to talk about North American market specifically because that's the one I know best, but in a lot of markets, you have legal requirements for safety in children's toys, right? There's a lot of things you have to account for and watch out for, and thresholds you have to stay below on certain chemicals and certain products, and lead. Lead is a big one. Now, lead isn't too much of a concern when you're building an 8-bit console and all you really need to change out for a game, like a game system to be revivified, is a pin connector. You're not super worried about lead. That's literally just a pop it in the socket, 10-minute job and you're done. But you look at a 360, that's a supercomputer. That is just a straight up, like by definition, that is a supercomputer. You know what a supercomputer uses? A whole lot of solder. You know, a good solder really only comes if it's made out of lead. Or rather, not made out of lead, but if it has a high enough lead component to it that it won't melt if it's overheated, because lead has a fantastic melt point compared to most other solder materials, especially compared to anything you might want to use that would be child safe in your toy, your Xbox 360. So you'd have people picking up these consoles, taking them home, doing like 6-hour campaigns or marathons or whatever on Halo or anything that was actually going to like cause the system to really go. And suddenly you've melted your entire internal system. It's dead now. There is nothing coming out of that but sadness and broken dreams. And one of the main reasons, not the only reason, because admittedly a lot of those consoles had the fans put in backwards in the first run. That was a big whoopsie. But a lot of that like massive red ring of death failure came because they had to build it like it was a children's toy. And it wasn't until late 2006, I think, that they actually got reallocated into the electronics section of like most of your department stores, and legally reallocated into entertainment systems, the way that the PlayStation's always had been. Because PlayStation marketed itself to the American market as a home entertainment system. I had audiophiles coming into my video game shop looking for original, like, first-run PS1s, because to this day they are considered some of the best machines on which to run old audio CDs. Like, you can spend $10,000 on a whole setup for your old CDs, or you can spend, like, $125 on a PlayStation and call it a day, right? So they'd do that. And that's how PlayStation got past all this, because everything they did was an entertainment system. Even though Nintendo was labeled Nintendo Entertainment System, it was marketed as a toy. Sony always marketed their shit as a multimedia system. The PS1 CD music? Oh, you ready for this trip, Dark Rio? Do you remember Monster Rancher and all the different monsters you could unlock through the CDs you could pop on your system? There's a whole list out there of what monsters were actually unlocked by what CDs. And it turns out Celine Dion and Slipknot had an awful lot of overlap in monster creation. I ended up having to look that list up for somebody for some reason or other. I can't remember. And then I just fell down that rabbit hole just looking at, wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? But also, as funny as this is, that helped me understand why I kept getting so many repeat monsters. My music taste was very well confused as a child. I had Ozzy Osbourne right next to Enya. And then I found Nightwish. You only have Monster Rancher 3? Monster Rancher 3 is so good though. That's a fun one. Why is everybody beating me up? Look at this. Look at this. I got like 6 people attacking me. Rude. Rudest of rudes. I can't believe you do this to me. I can't believe you do this to me. Let me speak to your manager. Damn, that never works. I've always tried it, never works. I do not have that summoning power. Oh, I'm too good. Thanks, Dark Rio. Do 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 do. Boop. 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 Just keep booping along. That's all I gotta do. I just gotta keep booping along. Eventually the sirens will stop. Oh boy. Shribada. Ah, that's where I'm fucked. Can't get over that. Yep. Shame. 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 You were wrong. I did not balls it that time. I failed that time. Made it top 50, but I failed it that time. Let's see if we can make up for that. Well, thank you.
Rude.
Have a good night, Dark Rio. Thanks for coming in. I should probably give it a rest soon myself, or I'm just gonna have dreams of Tetris blocks. Yikes. Yikes on Roni. Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good at all. Who arranges the blocks that descend upon me from up above? They come down and I spin them around till they fit in the ground like hand in glove. Long one, please. Why must these infernal blocks tease? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, perfect. And then you go here, and you go here, and you go here, you go here, you go here. Yes, yes, yes. Bucket. Ah! That came out of nowhere real quick. Ah! Hey, 22. 22 is not bad. Not great, but not bad. No KOs. Huh. I wonder if I've actually, like... I haven't been paying attention to that at all. Oh! I did! I did at least one with a KO. Yay! Hooray! Look at me go!
I'm a champion.
Alright, this is probably going to be my last one for the night. I should probably stop before my eyes start bleeding.
Come on. You got everybody here. Thank you. Whee! Okay. 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 This game's too tough for you? I'm sorry. Hi, Laura. Thanks for stopping in. I've been playing for a few hours now, so my brain's a little bit jello, I think. Because I'm just kind of staring and going, ooh, the pretty colors. Occasionally forgetting I'm supposed to press a button for half a second. Have a long one, please. Messing up my plans, putting in blocks underneath me. How rude. Thwarting my plans. Fine. You want to play like that? We play like that. Boom. There will definitely be more Tetris streaming in the future. This is one of my comfy games. Awesome. It's not gonna be all the time, but it is gonna be pretty regular enough for me. Especially with getting back into it. I haven't played it in a while, so I'm a little rusty still. I can't go out like this. I can't go out like this. I gotta do one more. Yeah, Tetris is cozy for me. Kawaii. When I was a kid, I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but just to catch you up, when I was a kid, I was in the car a lot. I was regularly on like 6 to 14-hour car rides, and I had a hand-me-down Game Boy and Tetris and Yoshi's Cookie. And those were my only entertainment. I even had, gosh, I don't know if you would know this. It's an old, like, Radio Shack accessory that was a Radio Shack exclusive. But it was called the Game Boy Booster. And it, like, made your Game Boy weigh, like, 15 pounds. And it was roughly the size of a newborn baby. But it had a magnifying glass and lights that shone directly down onto the screen. Which was why and how I could play it and even had it to begin with.
because that was the only way I could get away with having some electronics on without, like, lights on in the car. So I played a lot of Tetris. A lot of Tetris. Because it was all I had for a hot minute. Yeah, 6 to 14 hour car rides up to twice a month. Tetris is your comfort game too, but everyone keeps poo and destroying me. Yeah, I feel that. This is a very, especially tonight, it's been very aggressive. I think I had multiple rounds where I didn't even get through, like, the first 10 before I was yeeted up to the ceiling and it was game over, man. We do. I am definitely not a legendary Tetris player, but I used to be pretty good. I never quite hit master mode, but I could definitely keep up with, like, the standard Tetris stuff, and then maybe a little bit more. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully it does. Hopefully I used the words good this time. Put you there. Yes. 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 Also yes. No. This game is very simple, though. I won't understand how anyone can write a book on it. Ah! Did not press in time. Did not press in time. Personal failure. Skill. Issue. Ah! Alright, my pride won't let me go out like that. Pride demands we do better than that. At least top 30. At least top 30. But yeah, if you want to laugh, look up I think it was called the Game Boy Booster. It is absurdly sized. Like, genuinely bigger than a backpack I had in grade school. And that was how I played Tetris for a long time. That big honkin' thing. Not already! Goodness gracious. There were some family gatherings where I used my Game Boy, yes. I was usually more able to get away with reading at family gatherings than playing video games, so I often had a book on me. But when I could sneak my Game Boy out, that regularly came out. Yeah. My family's weird, so it was a lot better than dealing with that. There you are. Ah, that's not how I put you. That's not how I placed you. That's not how we did any of this. That was no. How? How dare? How very dare? I said it was going to be one game, but it's been all crappy games. I need to do better. I need to do better. I need to go out on a high note. I have spoken. Kind of ironically, I guess, my family was pretty anti-video game for as much of a game nerd as I became. My family just found video games tiresome for the most part. So it was me and my kid brother trying to convince our parents regularly that we were not just like whatever 60 Minutes crisis episode they saw last week, you know? You're into them video games and them animes, next you're gonna be playing D&D and worshiping the Satans. And it was like, well, hate to break it to you, Mom, but D&D is part of what got me into the video games. I became what they hate, yes. I am the manifestation of their fear. It wasn't intentional, like it wasn't a spiteful thing, it was just, well, guess I don't fit in here. Excuse you. My dude, if you could stop picking on me for 2 seconds, that would be super awesome. Just 2 seconds. Just like enough time to blink and shake my head, like a puppy, and then we'll be good. Then we'll be good. I just need to clear out the RAM, man. Do 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 do. Yes. Yes. Don't start that. Don't you dare. Don't you dare start that on me. I will not accept such nonsense right now. This nonsense, yes, that's fine. Ah! That sneeze took too long. Whoop. And the lines will be formed as they fall. Then I see that I have misjudged it. I should not have notched it after all. Ah! Button, no press. Ah! Yes, live there. Yes. Time, thank you. Ah! Ah! Top 20. We did it. We did it. We did better than we had been. Let's see. No knockouts. Okay. Did I do anything decent? No. Standard Tetris. Okay. Alright. Yeah, top 20 is something I can feel respectable about. I can vibe with that. Hold on. Just a moment. Okay, so now we're back here. Hi. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I know this wasn't, like, this was a very impromptu thing. I just kind of was full of pumpkin pie and potatoes and just wanted to play some Tetris and be kind of cozy. So I'm so glad you joined me. Thank you, Ilara. I'm so glad you were able to join me tonight. I'm probably gonna be pulling out Tetris on a comfy regular time. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll probably be on again on Sunday. I had to remember what day it was. Time is a lie. I'll probably be on again Sunday. I'm trying to decide if I want to do a spooky game or if we want to start the Zelda-ing. So I may put up a poll. We may see what people think. But yeah, I hope to see you then. Have a good night or morning or really whatever time it is for you. I'm gonna go do sleepy fish things. So I'll see you soon. Otsukoi!